All right, today we're going to be diving into a new pitch deck. This time it is from Facebook. At the time, they were called The Facebook. This is back in spring of 2004. So this is well before the company actually closed its first investment round publicly. They raised 500K from Peter Thiel in a seed stage investment, which was just soon after this deck was put together. But we didn't see them raise an angel round for another year in 2005 when they raised their Series A from Excel Ventures. And so this is a really interesting time in Facebook's lifetime because of the fact that they had significant traction and hasn't raised any money yet. I think this is a really interesting deck because it dives into traction and growth to show how quickly this company was already growing before they took in any money, something that you can try to aspire to do with your tech companies. As always, check the link in the description if you want to see this deck itself, or if you want to schedule a call with me and find ways to work together. Let's do it. Let's dive right in. All right, so here we have Facebook deck. It's 24 slides, so it's actually pretty long because they spend a healthy amount of time really explaining their go-to-market strategy, which I think is really smart. So let's dive into it here. It's interesting that the original pitch deck is actually in the title here. This is their media kit though. So this isn't exactly an investment deck. This I actually do think is positioned more as a sponsor or ad revenue deck than it is for an investment deck. Regardless, still fascinating to see. They have their title slide here. I'm actually not a huge fan of these types of glossary or index style of slides, but I totally think it makes more sense for a longer deck for advertising as opposed to investment decks. So that could be part of the value here. They start off with a quote. This kind of values or justifies their proposition and position in the market from the Stanford Daily, which is a college newspaper, really talking about why the Facebook.com had taken over their university, which again helps demonstrate to their advertisers that they have the pulse on the growing emerging generation. First, they walk through what is the company. Well, it's an online directory of students and everybody inside of colleges and universities. It was back when it was only colleges themselves. And it has a built-in messaging system. So it's basically an all-in-one connection portal for those students. Walk through what the user profile looks like. Again, not only is this an advertising deck for people to come on and pay for sponsorships, but they're also trying to sell their own company to these people. They're assuming that this is going to get sent around, shared around, and they want more users as well. So they're walking through what the solution is here. The sample profile they use is Sean Parker, who was serving as the president of the company. He actually made the introduction to Peter Thiel, who wrote that first seed investment. And Sean Parker is infamous inside of the movies around this company and everything to do with it because he had formerly started Napster, the company, then got very involved here and has done a whole lot since. Then they go into a more graphical slide. Again, I think they did a great job with making this deck look and feel premium. That was the priority here, to provide it to sponsors. And they use some descriptions here, but this is really just reiterating a lot of the same things. They break down social networking. This idea was not incredibly common, was not commonplace in the industry. So they were really trying to have to walk through what the value proposition of the platform is. And again, this was really dedicated and targeting towards university students at the time. We have more intra-school networking breakdowns here. That social graph on the side. We've seen many iterations of that across the years now. And they're talking about their expansion plan. They started in 2004 at Harvard. Then they expanded to other members. Again, this is a spring deck. So this is kind of right around the time that they launched. Now you can see here's where they're at across the Ivy Leagues. They also have other schools that they're working with and they're trying to onboard as well. Their expansion plan was that they wanted to have 200 member schools by September 1st. That was what they were on top of at the time. Their audience, college addiction. This is fascinating as a terminology that they used and really helps, I think, put into context the social media algorithmic style of play and positioning that the company eventually moved into, which was building on this addictive quality that individuals have around social media. They saw this from the very start, which is fascinating and really shows how visionary this company and the founders were in making that happen. This is also kind of doubles as their market sizing slide, talking about 15 million college students and 85 billion in purchasing power. Then they go on to detail 21 billion on restaurants, 9 billion on automobiles, 5 billion on clothes, 4 billion on phones. So this is all purchasing power, which again is relevant for advertisers. Hey, if you're in one of these markets, look at this segment that you're not currently hitting. This is the best place to target those people. Demographics, this is breaking down who's using the platform. This is March 2004, mostly Ivy Leagues, because that's where they were prioritizing. 70,000 users. Even at this point, they had not raised any money. They had built this all by themselves, and they had 70,000 users. That's pretty legit. Even that alone would be really, really impressive and a strong target demographic, let alone the fact that it then blew up from there. Keeping going, men, women, and ages 18 to 24 is the majority. You can even see they've got a keg stand as the graphic to describe the age group here. I think that that's fascinating. It really shows that they had a party and kind of dating style of culture within the company. That's what they were trying to prioritize and target, and it seemed to work very well. I'm not totally sure what these two graphics are meant to describe with men and women there, but either way, that's their breakdown. They then have their usage statistics here. 3 million daily traffic and page views is fascinating. Monthly unique users was very high. They really had strong engagement metrics, which is just as important as the raw total number. Is, are they actively using your platform? Are they actively engaging with what you're building? And if they are, they're likely going to be more actively engaged with advertising across the platform. Monthly traffic was 90 million page views, which is wild even for this early business, very, very early start. It's clear to see why this was a huge opportunity. Another quote here from the Daily Pennsylvanian: addiction. Again, you see this terminology used again. That's why this platform was so powerful. It's why people understood it. And that's really where they've always been trying to position, was making it addictive to continue to drive engagement on the platform. It really helps put into context some of the criticisms around the company today, because look, this is what they started with. This was 2004. This was 20 years ago, and they were still trying to prioritize that style of addictive strategy within their gamification of the platform. It makes total sense that that would be a priority for them 20 years later. User growth rate, they're really trying to prioritize their metrics here. Again, if you're trying to market towards advertisers, you not only want to show that they're really engaged on the platform, but next month or the month after, the user base will be 10 times larger, and so you should lock in your rates now and start to engage with the platform now so that you can capitalize on that. Then they talk about their services, the services themselves. Advertisement, you can use that. Horizontal and vertical banners, links, and other things. That's really what they were trying to prioritize here. But then targeting, they pioneered this idea of targeted advertising on the type of college, the type of degree, the courses that you've taken, age, gender, orientation was on here, homes, states, those types of things, relationships, dating interests, clubs. They really fully understood the value of breaking down these demographics and really ideating what a person is and figuring out exactly the type of user that you want to convert. I think this is fascinating to see how far ahead they were on digital advertising, and that's really what this business is. The rates, here you go. They have different sizes of their advertisement, but they don't have the prices here, which is unfortunate. It would have been really cool to see. Contact us, Eduardo Savrin. This is a co-founder alongside Mark Zuckerberg, and led this operation. He was the one trying to close the sales, and then they end it with another quote from another top-tier university, this time being Harvard, and validating their position in the market. So that's the deck. That's what they prioritized in terms of their business, trying to communicate with advertisers. And this is not an investment deck, but you can see even this alone would work great as an investment deck. I think that an investor will look at this and say, wow, this company is really doing well. And you slide in a revenue slide or something like that to show the businesses that you're already working with and the revenue the company's generating. And boom, you've got yourself a full pitch deck. I think Facebook knocked this one out of the park. It looks great. They totally understand their target demographic. They totally understand their revenue model and positioning market. They're very innovative with that strategy, and they have all kinds of validation throughout the deck. So I think they knocked this one out of the park. Would love to hear what you guys think as well. Leave a comment in the description with a company you want me to review their deck or talk about their different strategies here and break down some of the opportunities in the industry. Otherwise, click that link in the description. Check out this deck for yourself. Schedule a call with me. Let's get on the horn and figure out how to work together. Talk to you later.